I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Tiverton Town Council, Monday, November 10th, 2014. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I ask you to remain standing for a moment of silence for the men and women who have served and serve our country, and in remembrance of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Councilor Gerlach,
Present.
Councilor Ruda,
Present.
Councilor Shabbat,
Present.
Councilor Lambert,
Present.
Councilor Roderick,
Present.
Councilor DiMederos,
Present.
Councilor Pelletier,
Yes, ma'am.
all present.
The consent agenda. Approval of regular council minute meetings of October 27, 2014. Approval of the executive session minutes, October 27, 2014. Receipt of minutes from the following boards and commissions: Board of Canvassers, Conservation Commission, Recreation Commission, Zoning Board of Review, Personnel Board. Correspondence, receive and file. Prevention Coalition, October Coalition newsletter. Received from Scott Humphrey regarding planner position. Tax Assessor, approval of abatements. Town Administrator, authorize advertising the sale of Judson Street Community Center through sealed bid auction. Attorney Brian Kuna, claim referred to solicitor and the interlocal trust. Any items to be removed?
I would like item 4A, 3B removed, please, for discussion.
Item 3B?
Yeah.
Any others? Okay, I will entertain a motion on the balance of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Mr. Pelletier.
Yeah. So let me just get squared away here. I'm not going to read the whole letter, but this is a letter for everyone who's not aware from Scott Humphrey, who's not only chairman of the EDC in town, but also a business owner and resident. And it's a pretty strongly worded letter that I think, if you haven't read it already, I think all of us should, and anybody who wants a copy can certainly get one. And it relates to the process of the planning, the planner selection, and most specifically, the manner in which that a person was treated. I'm referring to Kate Michaud during that process and throughout that process. And I think it just took, I wanted to take this opportunity to just remind people that when we talk about these things in the town, and positions and budget line items and actions, that there are people behind those positions and budget line items. They're very real people that either work for the town or volunteer for the town, and we need to really make sure that we don't allow ourselves to go down a path of dehumanizing the process, and I think that's a lot. Lately, it's a lot easier to do, and I would just remind everyone of that. And you know, this letter, if you haven't read it, it's very disturbing for someone who is a member of a large group of people that run this town and that work in this town and that live in this town. I don't want anyone to feel as though they're mistreated and they're disrespected and they're not valued. And I think whether we were complicit in that or not, that happened. And just from me, and I only speak for myself, I certainly do apologize to anyone, especially Kate, who was just sort of collateral damage in a very politicized process. And I endeavor to do better in the future. Thank you.
Anyone else from the council?
I read it also. In my personal opinion, I didn't see how I possibly would have caused some of these things that Mr. Humphrey talked about. And one thing he didn't mention in the letter, that she did do this with 2 years of zero compensation. I'm not sure that's actually accurate, because she did have a contract that she was working under as a part-time planner, but I'm not really sure how, what my contribution was to make him feel that way. I didn't see it.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I did, excuse me, I have something of a cold. I did contact Mr. Humphrey after reading the letter, and it's clear that perhaps I don't have all of the facts. It's clear perhaps Mr. Humphrey doesn't have all of the facts. I contacted Mrs. Mello this afternoon and asked her to put this on as an executive session issue at the earliest opportunity. I think it's important that we all know what happened here and get an appropriate timetable for these events, because I don't know all of them now. And I think we'll get that with an executive session. And at some point, I was planning to ask Mr. Wojak to take on the responsibility of providing the town council with a breakdown of exactly what's happened over the last 2 months with respect to this personnel matter. But I certainly join with Mr. Pelletier. Some of these issues can become politicized, but the handling of this and the politicizing of this issue was just absolutely disgraceful. And I don't think the fault is with the town council. Thank you.
I guess that's what I mean. I'm not really sure. I'm unaware apparently of things that might have happened. So when I read this, I wasn't really understanding what part I might have played in it.
Anyone else from council? Yeah, I just want to add, I had the privilege to work with Kate when the federal government and the state of Rhode Island came to look at the industrial park. And I will tell you that her professionalism, her knowledge was beyond reproach. And I too was a little upset in the process, but unfortunately that's the way things went, and it was politicized, and unfortunately a person was used in this manner, and hopefully when it's reviewed, not that anything would change, but at least I think we owe Ms. Michaud our gratitude for the hard work she had put in for all the time she'd been here, and especially as acting as the full-time planner of these last few months or so. And again, I extend my apologies to her, but I also want to thank her for her hard work on behalf of the town of Tiverton. She represented this town in the most professional manner, and losing her will be a great loss for this town. Okay, with that said, I will entertain a motion regarding 3B.
I move that we, was it receive and file?
Yes.
Receive and file item A3B, 4A3B.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, open public forum and announcements, comments, and questions. We have none. Hey, I guess they're being easy
The
on me
election
tonight.
is over.
Public hearings and public presentations, advertised public hearings. Chief Blakey, proposed traffic ordinance, section 78-114, through traffic on Gilly Hill Road, prohibiting traffic between the hours of 3 p.m. and 6 p.m., except for individuals living thereon or visiting residences. Chief.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I requested a traffic study be completed by the state at the intersection of Bulgamage and Fish Road. On average, daily, there's 25 to 30 cars backed up there between the hours of 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The traffic study, I requested to see if it warranted a streetlight at that location, and the study came back that there are enough, they do meet the criteria for a traffic light to be installed there. Also, on average, it takes 44 seconds for each car to get through the intersection in the afternoon. 25 or 30 cars is quite a wait for people, so whatever we're experiencing is the neighborhood of Gilly Hill Road is all being cut through to make a right turn, and it is a safety hazard, a safety issue for the people who live in that area. Therefore, I'd like to ask the council to pass an ordinance, or at least entertain an ordinance that we prohibit traffic between the hours of 3 and 6 p.m., Monday through Friday.
All right, this being a public hearing, I will ask, is there anyone from the public? Anyone from the public? Third and final time, anyone from the public? Okay, seeing none, I will open it up to the council. Mr. Gerlach?
I support this. I don't have any issue whatsoever. Makes sense.
No, Chief, it's a quick hypothetical question. What happens if the person you go in there to visit just continually is not home the time you go there to visit them between that time? You just happen to, no, let's come back later and let's keep going.
Well, I don't think I can dedicate a car just to that intersection every afternoon, so I think there'll probably be a hit and miss situation there.
So, Chief, is the discussion around a potential traffic light going to advance?
Yes, they have actually scheduled it. They anticipate it would be put in the spring of 2016.
Oh, 2016.
Yeah.
It's quite the wait.
And we did look at the fact, and I actually discussed it very briefly with Mr. Vellucci, of possibly putting a turning lane there, but the drainage and the geography of the land is such that you couldn't possibly stop that, put a right turn lane there.
Should this ordinance pass, Chief, will proper signage and stuff be put up there to
Yes.
notify the
there would
public?
be. Similar to the area around the school that we currently have to stop the students from exiting through the neighborhoods and to avoid the school buses.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else from the council? Okay, I understand the reasons for this and the need for it, so I am also in full agreement. With that said, I will entertain a motion regarding an ordinance regarding Chapter 78-114 through traffic penalty of violation of the section regarding Gilly Hill Road, Section 78 through traffic.
I'll make a motion that we approve new traffic ordinance, Section 78-114, through traffic on Gilly Hill Road, prohibiting traffic between the hours of 3 p.m. and 6 p.m., except for individuals living thereon or visiting residences, as demonstrated in Agenda Item B1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the town council sitting as a board of licensing, non-advertised public hearing for license renewals, subject to meeting legal requirements, December 1st, 2014 through November 30th, 2015. Rather than read all of them, it's approval for entertainment license. Are there any issues with any of these,
We have to read them all.
Madam Clerk?
Actually, there are some that have not met all the requirements, but the licenses do not expire until November 30th. We put the ones that were non-advertised on this meeting, since we had the opportunity with some room on the agenda, because on the 24th, we have the advertised licenses. But the whole license would be issued, and if we run into a real problem with it, we will just put it on that meeting that, that there's a specific
And it's subject to
issue.
meeting all legal requirements.
It is subject to meeting the legal requirements.
All right, so I will entertain a motion regarding the approval of entertainment licenses for those listed under item C1.
Andy, do you have, no, it's a public hearing.
Yeah,
Public hearing.
sorry. No, I don't think you have to go read through all the names, but it should be a call if there's anybody who wants to speak.
Yeah, and
on any
anyone
of
regarding
those
approval of
C1.
entertainment license under C1? Anyone from the public? Anyone from the public? Third and final call, anyone from the public? Seeing none, I'll entertain that motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the entertainment license for all listed under C1,
Subject to.
subject to meeting all legal requirements.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item C2, tobacco dealers licenses. Again, anyone from the public? Anyone from the public? Third and final call, anyone from the public? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve all tobacco dealers license renewals under C2, subject to meeting all legal requirements.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item C3, victualling license renewals. Again, anyone from the public? Anyone from the public? Third and final call, anyone from the public? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
One's going to be granted and not
That's
issued.
the red Dory, that is.
Yeah.
So it says it's on the,
Okay.
Right.
I move that we approve all victualling licenses renewals under C3, subject to meeting all legal requirements.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Holiday license renewals. Again, anyone from the public? Anyone from the public? Third and final call, anyone from the public? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the holiday license renewals as illustrated in agenda item C4, subject to meeting all legal requirements.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Street excavator license renewals, item C5. Again, anyone from the public? Anyone from the public? Third and final call, anyone from the public? Mr. Bellucci, before I go on?
I believe earlier I sent the correspondence supporting all of these contractors.
Okay.
And I still do.
All right.
I just have one question. This is the last time I ask, I promise. Did any of these work on the water main on Lepus Road?
No, not on water main work, no.
No.
That's all contractors by the
Okay.
water company involved.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve all of the street excavator license renewals, subject to meeting all legal requirements for C5.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item C6, flea market license renewal. Anyone from the public? Anyone from the public? Third and final call, anyone from the public? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the flea market license renewal listed under C6, meeting all legal requirements.
Second.
I have a motion and second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item C7, mobile home park license renewals. Anyone from the public? Anyone from the public? Third and final call, anyone from the public? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the mobile home park license renewals as illustrated in agenda item C7, subject to meeting all legal requirements.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item C8, petroleum storage license renewals. Anyone from the public? Yes, Mr. Tights.
Mr. President, I just would like to make a note regarding Three Ducks Gas and Car Wash. There was an open issue with the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management. We were informed verbally that they had satisfied that, but I just want to note, obviously we subject to meeting all legal requirements, but I just want also on the record that we will be requiring that confirmation from DEM as part of that legal requirements before reissuing the license.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else from the public? Third and final call, anyone else from the public? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the petroleum storage license renewal, subject to meeting all legal requirements in C8.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item C9, fireworks renewal, license renewals. Excuse me. Anyone from the public? Anyone from the public? And before I call third and final call, Chief Lloyd.
Mr. President, as far as we're concerned, all of these have been validated and are in compliance.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, third and final call. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the fireworks license renewals, pending all legal requirements.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item C10, antique license renewals. Anyone from the public? Anyone from the public? Third and final call, anyone from the public? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the antique license renewals in C10, subject to meeting all legal requirements.
Second.
I have a question on that. I know this happens every so often, where I ask this question. What's the difference between the antique dealer's license and the secondhand junk or hawker's peddler's license, or whatever it's called? I may have just mushed two things together.
You missed three or four.
Yeah.
The hawkers and the peddlers are totally separate.
Yeah, those guys are
The ones on the street. The peddlers are the ones who move around. The hawkers are the ones that stay in one place and call out.
But there's a junk dealer,
Right.
or secondhand.
Exactly. And there isn't actually any significant difference on this scale, between junk and antique dealers.
Okay.
If you're buying and selling secondhand stuff, you still need that license. Then we also have further, we'll have it at the next meeting, dealing with the auto dealers,
Yeah.
which is a separate one for those licenses.
So did we have any for secondhand? Okay. All right. I just wondered, because my favorite antique shop is not on this list, and I was wondering why. Okay.
Mr. Tights,
Do they buy anything? Do they take things on consignment or buy anything, or only sell it?
I don't
That if you only sell it,
Yeah.
you don't need the license.
Oh, so this is for
This is
acquiring
if
and
you're
selling?
transacting it. That's right.
Buying stuff and selling stuff.
So evidently they don't.
Mike, to confuse it more, out of curiosity, do they have a drummer's license in Rhode Island?
Not to my knowledge.
You know what a drummer is, man?
The gentleman who chases a deer to the men who are waiting with guns. No?
It's a beater.
That's a beater, sorry.
I found out today that a drummer is somebody who takes an order but has no legal obligation to place the order. Normally, it was done by a wife. She would go around before her husband. She was called a drummer. She would sell the notion or whatever she was selling, but it was her husband's responsibility as the peddler to actually provide the goods. I'm sure people are fascinated by that distinction.
Gee, is that will go down tonight as Dear Diary.
Is
I would
that where we
expect
get
that,
drum up business?
Yep.
Probably. Okay, sorry to derail.
All right, we have a motion.
I'm sorry. And a second.
And a second.
With your definition.
On item C10, antique license renewal, subject to meeting all legal requirements. All those in favor? Motion carries. Appointments and resignations, there are none. Unfinished business. I'm asking for this. This is a corrected vote from our October 27th meeting regarding the town administrator's contract. When the motion was made, it was actually made incorrectly. We put it at 90,000, and it was already at 90,000, and what we needed to do was to approve the 1.5% increase. So at this time, I will ask for a corrected motion.
So,
It's 600 and, what was it?
You have to ask me, but I think it's 675.
Yeah, I think it's an
Total.
additional $675.
so what are we doing here?
Well, we read the contract as 90,000.
Yes.
But it-
I understood
yeah,
that. I meant
so-
mechanically, how are we going to, are we
so-
reopening the vote
Yeah,
and
we're
then
going to make a motion.
to reconsider, or?
I think you're clarifying the vote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, clarify.
I mean,
Yeah.
my understanding was the vote was to grant the raise as specified in the contract.
Okay.
But there was a question about what that amount was.
And the
My understanding,
wording,
the contract says it was a $90,000 salary, increase of 1.5% for the remaining 6 months of year one. So it would be an annualized salary now of $91,350 would be the new annualized
Right.
salary, but that would be retroactive to
August
August
1st.
24th, August 25th, 2014. And that's my understanding.
Which was Matt's 6-month anniversary.
Right.
Just
That's
so
correct.
folks understand that date.
So that's your motion. I think it's okay as set forth on the agenda. Well, actually, it says corrected vote. I think that's what it is. I don't think you have to rescind the other vote,
Okay.
but just to vote to specify the amount, since the amount was not specified in the previous one.
I move that we correct the vote from October 27th regarding the town administrator contract, and specifically the dollar amount of the annualized salary, which is $91,350, retroactive to August 25th, 2014.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Financial business, none. New business, town clerk. You're up.
This is just, I guess it's because it's not in my packet, here it is. This is just to let you know that there was a charter complaint against the majority of the town council, less, I believe, Councilor Aruda, and Judge Donnelly gave this order, which essentially is saying he's going to recuse himself from hearing that. So it has been forwarded to Judge D'Addario, and Judge D'Addario called me today. They're going to be, he's setting up a time for the hearing. We're waiting to hear from Mr. O'Day. That's just for your information, because it is against the council. I'll let you know as soon as we know. There's a possibility it could be next Monday.
What's the date of that?
No, we're just working out.
Next
You don't know the date of next Monday?
I think 19.
Oh, okay.
So,
It's one of those floating holidays.
Specifically going to be next,
All right, I was just wondering. Yeah,
so
but
next,
we're working on it.
all right. You'll let us know, though.
so you'll all be back one more time.
Not all. Okay. All right. Item H, bids and requests for proposals. DPW Director Stephen Bellucci requests permission to advertise for bids to purchase two 40-cubic yard roll-off containers for the landfill recycling of mattresses and hard plastics.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was here about, I'd say, a year and a half ago with the same request. We went out and bought two dumpsters that I thought were going to be enough for hard plastics and one for mattresses. We ended up using those two just for mattresses alone, and we're receiving tons of hard plastics. Just today, we had to run 4 truckloads of hard plastics from here to Johnston, and each one weighs about a ton, so we get about $17, $16 in recycling refunds for it. It's an expensive proposition, so we have space, so I'm looking to buy 2 more of them for the hard plastics. The funds have been approved by the landfill and recycling committee out of the restricted account. And it's also building an inventory for the continued effort of us looking for relocation, because the existing location is going to be under 20 feet of rubbish when we're done. So the landfill committee is looking to recommend a location. We've met with the Conservation Commission. And this is just building an inventory of the dumpsters that we're going to need when that transpires. So that's what I'm requesting.
Roughly, well, what do they cost?
Beg your pardon?
Roughly, what do they cost?
$5,000 apiece. If I could buy them any other way but bidding, we could probably get them for $3,000. But unfortunately, we can't go to eBay and we can't go to these contractor listing places. But we got to go out to public bids, so I would estimate closer to $5,000.
Okay, anything from the council?
Steve, are the funds going to be pulled from the kind of the recycling kitty?
Yeah,
That we get from
yes,
Rhode Island
exactly.
Resource Recovery?
Yes.
Okay.
Steve, what's the balance of that account currently?
Oh, boy. There was, I believe, 76, so it's going to be down to 66. We set aside 20, I think, for the recycling bins and trash bins at the parks. So we're probably down to, we'll be down to 56 in that area.
It was you said 70?
I think we had 76 in,
76?
is that right? 76 plus or minus right now.
And that includes that big deposit you guys just got?
Yes, 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 yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything from the council? I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we give permission to the DPW director to advertise for bids to purchase two 40-cubic yard roll-off containers for the landfill recycling of mattresses and hard plastics.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Town administrator, items and announcements.
Mr. President, I'll be as quick as I can because I don't want to upset our pace. On the Judson Street disposal of that property, we are trying to move with all haste to bring this to a conclusion. It is the passage of time that costs the town the most money. I'm encouraged that after a couple of newspaper articles have been written by this, a number of people have come to my office to ask for more details because they're interested in bidding. This will be a sealed bid auction, so the strategy here is, there won't be a live auction. You won't know what your competition is bidding for numbers. So you'll have to do your best to place your value. The minimum value has been set at the market appraisal, which was done by a professional. So we won't accept anything less than the appraised value, and we're looking for people to bid it up. I'm hoping to advertise this and bring it to a conclusion within 2 weeks. I actually would like conclusion before Thanksgiving. I'd like it to go into the heating season not buying any fuel for that building. On Monday, November 17th at 6:30 PM here at Town Hall, I'm going to chase down a loose end. It's going to take a long time to resolve, but it's a loose end that was left dangling for a long time, which is the land use and planning enforcement subcommittee, or ad hoc committee, if you will, with member of the council, member of the planning board, we're getting some, the zoning official, the administrative officer for the planning board, to discuss items that were raised quite a long time ago in a public meeting where I guess it was more or less a complaint box type format, where people had concerns about zoning and planning and other issues in town were able to air those issues, and the consultant helped you build the list. I have gone through that list and made some observations and some temporary or putative delegations of responsibility to different town officials to follow up on those issues. Some of those issues have been, in fact, resolved by some of the personnel changes that have occurred. Some of them are still pending as you go through the comprehensive community planning process and will need to be captured in any zoning amendments you do as you go forward. But I hope to have a productive meeting. I invite members of the public who participated in that session so long ago. I know many members of the Conservation Commission participated. I would certainly hope to have your feedback and your input that night. And when the agenda's already been posted, but we'll put out a public packet as well on the website so you can see the work that we've been doing since May, really, to get this ready for this time. We have quite a few policies that we need to write next year coming up to recreation, and I would ask members of the public who have a lot of interest in the Recreation Commission and its activities to start attending meetings and to give us your feedback and involvement. There are a number of things that I think are very important. If we can't get to a consensus on a field use policy, we should at a minimum have a field damage policy. So we start to recoup some of the things we lose when people don't take care of the fields or misuse our fields. And we also have to have a comprehensive approach to Grinnell's, because with the Stone Bridge abutment work being done next year, it is unlikely that beach will be as accessible and as user-friendly as it would normally be. There are members of the Recreation Commission taking the lead and exploring various technologies for for lack of a better word, something a little bit better, a little bit classier, a little bit more effective than porta potties for our various facilities. We need input on those topics as well. So I would hope that members of the public would take an interest in the Recreation Commission. You know, it is the one set of assets that many, many people in this town enjoy. And so I would hope to have as much feedback as possible on how we should allocate our budget and what you want from those facilities so we can give them proper priority as we go through the budget process. Last but not least, I'm just going to relate a message from the Chief of Police from this morning. This time of year, everybody has to be cognizant of the fact that if you have pets, coyotes are very active in town. I guess we had 2 incidents this weekend where people lost their pets or their pet was attacked by a wild animal. Just be aware of the fact that late at night or whatnot, if you let your animal out, you really need to take personal care because the wild animals are free, and if they grab yours and run into the woods, you will not see it again. So as a pet owner myself, I just pass that along to all of you. Be aware that it has happened quite a bit. And I guess I should complete this with Veterans Day. Tomorrow's a special day for all of us who have veterans in our family. So I wish the best to all of our veterans and to their relatives. My father was a Korean War combat veteran and served in the part of the war that nobody writes about because no ground changed hands, but many, many lives were lost. And he's gone now, but I reflect upon the stories he told of his friends being taken. He was a master sergeant in his artillery group, and one night a Chinese shell took out a tent that had his captain, his first lieutenant, his second lieutenant all inside it doing an officers' meeting. It put him in a bit of a sticky spot to be the camp cook and all of a sudden realizing that he might actually be the guy in charge. So to everyone who's ever feared and whoever has ever made the sacrifice and served our country, I certainly, for my part, would like to salute you and thank you for your service.
Thank you. Town Council announcements, comments, and questions.
I have one item, Mr. President. The Arts Council is holding their arts reception this Sunday, November 16th, at the Town Hall from 2 to 4 p.m. It displays the work of approximately 16 artists, as you can see. They've done a wonderful job. There's oils, watercolors, photography, as different mediums. And please join us on Sunday. Again, Sunday, the arts reception at 2 to 4 here at the Town Hall, Sunday, November 16th. Thank you.
Anyone else from the council? Okay.
I have something, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I can't do 2 things at once. Updating the calendar. Yeah, I have one request for the clerk. I would like to see all the agendas and draft minutes for all personnel board meetings involving the town planner discussion, both rounds. We only have, I think we've got up to August for final minutes, but I'd like to see those relatively quickly. Thank you.
And I'd like to say one more thing. This is Councilman Roderick's last meeting because he's abandoning us next week and going to Florida. I'd like to thank Ed for all his service to the town and his leadership the last 2 years. He'll be sorely missed.
Thank you. Okay. As Denise said, yeah, this is my last meeting. So what I would like to say is, first, thank you to my family, and especially my wife, for allowing me to go on this great trek here. And I want to thank the people of the town of Tiverton who voted for me and put me in office 3 times. I thank you for having that confidence in me. It has been a privilege, a true privilege, to serve this town. And I promised myself I wasn't going to get emotional. But it's also been an honor to serve with all of you. And I want to start with Mr. Gerlach. Your care for our waterways and your diligence in preserving our drinking water, I can't thank you enough for that. Mr. Aruda, you're the quiet one on the council, but you have a care.
Swing a big stick.
Yeah, but you have a care for this town And I thank you for all the things that you've done to ensure that this town grows and continues. Mrs. Shabbat, sometimes the only voice of dissent on the council, but you always did that with grace. There was never any malice, and it was always done with the best interests of the town. And that I really thank you for, because we do sometimes need a voice to say no. Okay? I'm going to save you for last. Mr. Pelletier, you know, in the time that we've worked together, I'm amazed at your knowledge. And I really want to thank you for your jumping on the budget bandwagon and doing the hard work and crunching the numbers and steering this council in times to show us what we really needed to look at and the things that were important. Denise. What can I say? You've had many roles in this town to show that how much you really care. And I have appreciated everything you have done on this council, and I'm sure going forward, you know, the next council will also appreciate that. And last to my oldest friend on the council, Jay, it's been a pleasure serving with you. You know, your legal bonbons and your little witticisms, and sometimes bringing up little known legal facts that most of us would probably have never considered. But it helps us in making decisions, and it's been a true privilege to serve with you. To our town administrator, for the short time that you've been here, I have to say that your professionalism, it shows that you are beginning to become part of our town and to care for our town, and I expect that you will continue to grow and serve this town. Mr. Tights, we haven't always seen everything eye to eye, but I, for one, and I think this council, that your council has been expertise at most times, and leading us in what is most of the time the best course for this town to take. It's not easy sometimes being the town solicitor when everyone else professes to know more about the law than you do. But it has been my honor to work with you. Leona, what can I say? You know, you're here every day, and you take care of the things, and you sit there quietly, and, but you know what's going on, and I appreciate that. Okay. To Chief Lloyd and to Chief Blakey, Tom, and the other department heads, I can't thank you all enough for the courtesies you've extended to me, but also for your hard work and diligence for the town of Tiverton. Most people don't realize what it really entails, the public service portion that you guys do, and the little things that you do to make us all safe. For that, I will be eternally grateful. Our town treasurer, Denise, you came in at a tough time, and you have absolutely done a wonderful job. I can't thank you enough for steering this town financially. It's for those of us who were at the beginning and saw things that weren't going well, and for you to take that over and to turn it around, it's just amazing, and I thank you for that. And lastly, I'm going to say to the mother of the council, our town clerk, who has, over the course of time, has stepped up and been town administrator when we needed one, who handles the day-to-day, really, of this council, who informs us, teaches us, cajoles us, points fingers at us, yells at us, but she does because she cares about this town. And Nancy, I cannot thank you enough. It has been a true honor and pleasure to work with you. Thank you. And again, to all of you, thank you. And from that, we'll talk about alcohol service. Town solicitor.
This is a hard act to follow, unless I'm going to make a toast to you. This was carried over from the last meeting. It's a request from the chief of police regarding an ordinance for the regulation of BYOB establishments. As indicated previously and in the memo, the state law kind of leaves this vague. I think we have the power to regulate it, but like many things, if we want to do it, we need to enact an ordinance. And it was simply put before you for your direction. If you want, I will prepare an ordinance for submission for the next council and public hearing and so forth. I think you had some questions at the last hearing towards, is it a problem and what degree of problem? And so that's why I asked it be continued so that the chief of police could answer those questions, since he's more knowledgeable about that than myself.
Okay, Chief?
You have a spare key for that place in Florida? Just a thought. Fortunately, we don't have any liquor establishments in town, or BYOB places right now, which makes it good. We're not hurting anyone, we're getting a fresh start. But if there should be one, they don't have to basically come before the council. This is not about the fees or collecting the fees, but it does have a level playing field for those people who do pay for the fees. We can't regulate them if there's no license involved. Serving, the people who serve the alcohol should receive some type of training, the same as the licensed establishments. And this is what this is all about, just to get ahead of the curve and to have something on the books. If you're coming into town, you want to open up an establishment, we would like to know that you're here, you are serving alcohol, and rather than find out there's a barroom fight that we didn't know there was a barroom, excuse me, and I just think that it's something that we should have on the books, in the sense if something does come here, and like I said, we can't regulate them if they don't know, they're not even having a license, whether it be for consumption, training of service, and stuff like that. So I just think it's a good thing to have on the books, again.
I just have a question.
Preventive measure.
Yeah, in other cities and towns, I'm sure you've talked to other
I have.
chiefs that do have BYOB. How do they regulate that, do you know?
Basically like a BV license, similar situation, hours of operation, everything that would apply for a liquor license would not apply for a BYOB.
So Sandy Woods wouldn't be one of the establishments you're talking about, because Sandy Woods is a BYOB, but it isn't a restaurant, so.
It's something that's going to be permanently there. I think it'd be more applicable than someone's going to open a restaurant and they just put up a
Okay.
sign that you're going
I'm
to
just
have. If this is an event, you could compare that to possibly even a church event.
All right.
Or,
I mean, even like a music event, if somebody had a band
Right.
concert,
A
if you bought
fun-
a bottle of wine, that's BYOB.
No, it is, but it's that's more of a fundraiser.
But this
I
would
think
be
the
more
event
of a
that
restaurant.
to be a fundraiser. This is someone who's opening a basically retail business, and they're going to serve, and they're just circumventing the law by having bring your own booze situation, bottle, excuse me.
Anything from the council?
Yeah, well, my question was going to be, do we have any restaurants that are doing that presently?
We currently, to my knowledge, we do not, which makes it beneficial in that we're not going to upset anyone or try to be accused of trying to put someone out of business.
So our next step is we start to draft some language for an ordinance.
Correct. There are towns that currently do have them. They also do have those type of establishments, and they were already in operation, so it got a little bumpy. So this is just something we're trying to do before anything does get established.
And I do support this as well.
I say we do a pilot program starting with the next council meeting, the 24th.
Bring your bottle of council.
I don't think there's any,
Sure.
anything loud in the building.
I agree. I think the council should direct the solicitor to provide a draft ordinance for the next council and take it from there.
Could I just have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Second.
A motion, second. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Town clerk, election update.
There was an election?
There are
Was there an election?
copies available of the summaries on the election, but I just wanted to make a few comments here in appreciation for all the work and the people that put the work into it for the elections. There's a lot more work than it seems when you just go to a polling place and vote. And I'd like to just be able to thank the poll workers this year. For this particular election, we had 27 new poll workers that had never done this before. And We continually keep going around to the polls, and it seemed like they were doing a good job on that. We had high school greeters for the first time, and they did a very good job. Our school departments, as far as their custodians, they helped us out tremendously. Manny Fonts, who is our custodian maintenance worker, first, he hasn't been here that long to be thrown into elections like this. And Phil Farrier, our new maintenance director, they were excellent. They took a lot of the burden off. They really were good about going around. Our Board of Canvas members really stepped up to the plate and helped out more than I've ever seen on my 12 years here do. Jody Roy was the technician, which helped us. Lori Roy from the clerk's department, her work on the logistics and the settings up was really appreciated. She's really good at that. Kathy Wood and Jeannie Spencer, you have to remember, she just started in November as our Board of Canvas, so a lot of this was Greek to her, and I'd be calling for things, and she didn't quite know, but she tried hard to get to it. Of course, Leona Cook, she takes the burden of a lot of the clerk work so that I would be free to do some of this election work. The fire department came through for us with lights at Amicable Church, which is always an issue. The police chief was running back and forth to the Board of Elections for us, and the DPW, Steve Bellucci, and the men that helped set up the equipment and the signs. I really want to say thanks and appreciation to all of them. And I just have one more. I will be on vacation from Friday to next Thursday.
I'll
No
see you in
joke.
Florida.
I'll see you.
I'm going with his.
Before I ask for adjournment, I do have one more thing to say. 6 years ago, when I was first elected to the council, a friend of mine gave me this American flag pin. And she told me it was to remind me that I have the privilege of living in this country and being able to serve our country, our state, and especially our town. And it's meant a lot to me over these 6 years. And what I would like to do is give it to Nancy Mello to give to the next president of the council, whoever that may be, if I stop shaking enough to hand it to her. And hopefully it will mean something to them as much as it has meant to me.
Thank you, sir.
And now I will call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? We're now adjourned.